my friend?
It's been good. It's been good.
Watch any good horror movies?
Not yet, but I was gonna watch some probably in the next week or so.
What were you thinking?
I don't know.
Just something.
Yeah, it's something pretty much. I don't know. It's really what it comes down to. It's like I'll look around and I'll just look up like horror ones. I honestly thought about rewatching the It movies, like the newer ones.
I'm reading the book for that right now. I'm gonna watch the movies after.
Yeah.
Good movies though.
They were good movies. I quite enjoyed them. Were you one of those kids that watched like the original It film basically, like when you were like way too young?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
At the time, I didn't think those movies were still too spooky, but reading the book, the old miniseries is a lot more faithful
Yeah.
than the new movies are.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, the old Pennywise was creepy too.
Yeah.
Because he spoke more like an actual, just like weirdo guy.
Yeah.
As opposed to just a monster all the time.
The way that the Pennywise in the newer films just kind of comes off as just generally just kind of creepy and just not like, okay, there's something just wrong with you.
Like, why would any reasonable child approach this man?
Exactly. Like, why would anyone think that this is a real human person thing or something? Like, I don't know.
Whereas with like old Pennywise, it's like, okay, yeah, it's a clown.
It's just a weird clown, you know. It's just doing weird clown things.
Now that old miniseries was goofy as hell, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I like both, if we're being honest, but
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do an intro and then we'll get going for real here.
Okay.
So, hello and welcome to another episode of It Never Ends. I'm Andrew. Over there is my good buddy Alex. How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Feeling pretty spooky.
Pretty spooky. By the time this comes out, this will be the last episode before Halloween. So. There you go. So it's obviously been a bit. It's fine. Not really a whole lot for us to talk about. But what I do want to talk about is the new change that they just announced for Commander as of yesterday, I believe, when it comes to their bracket system. And they did a whole live stream talking about the changes that they're doing and everything like that. And basically what it comes down to is that they're more clearly defining each of the 5 brackets. Basically, like, bracket 1 is exhibition, you know, just generally like, oh, it's more towards a goal or theme, not really to doing powerful things. It's more of just like, oh, this is kind of a funny thing and I want to do it just because it's funny, not because it's good type thing. But the one thing that they added on to this, which I thought was kind of interesting, because I don't know, I see where they're going, but at the same point, whatever. They also added like what they think is like should be the minimum amount of turns that like each bracket should play. So like bracket 1, they said that most of the time it's going to last about 9 turns. They think by the 9th turn around is that people will either win or lose at that point. So, and then bracket 2 is no longer going to be. Bracket 2 was kind of like this idea that these were the pre-con decks. These are the pre-constructed decks that you buy at like your local game store, and you basically just take out of the box and you play. With the way pre-cons have been kind of going recently, they've been a little crazier, and this way it allows them to reprint some game changers that are in the pre-cons, whatever, and to maybe reduce the cost of those game changers. And also, so it's like they can make the pre-cons better. I think partially. So basically, it's just more of like upgraded. So it's like unoptimized but straightforward things. Nothing overly powerful, but also not like, you know, I'm gonna, you know, win on turn 5 or something like that. I don't know. That one was a little hard. It says unoptimized and straightforward with some cards chosen to maximize creativity and or entertainment. That's pretty much how they describe it. So I was like, okay.
Okay.
And they said generally those games with in those brackets should last about 8 turns. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Bracket 3 upgraded. It's pretty much, I feel like, the main thing, because this is the point where you is like decks start to be more powered up with strong synergy and high card quality, and then it can have effective disruption, as well as we can add the game changers in to add high value engines and stuff like that. And they say generally this should probably last about 6 turns. I feel like generally that's kind of bracket 3 into bracket 4 is generally where I feel like a lot of people usually land when they're playing Commander. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, when you really think about it, it's like 6 turns around with everyone going around. It's like probably be a little bit more than that, depending on how everyone's playing and the type of decks. But for the most part, I don't think that's necessarily wrong. Bracket 4 was optimized is basically just like decks that don't necessarily fall into the CEDH metagame. Basically, if something is considered a CEDH deck, it is bracket 4. It's really what it comes down to. It's like these are powerful decks that do powerful things, designed to be fast, designed to be consistent, but not to the point where you're just steamrolling everything and everything like that. Like, I don't know. It's like it's defined by the meta pretty much at that point is kind of how it comes down to it when they determine this. And I go, okay, I mean, I guess, yeah. I don't know. Lasting about 4 turns, they said.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
I was like, 4 turns, okay. I mean, yeah, if you're really being consistent and like potentially ramping into other things or whatever, and you're utilizing game changes properly, yeah, I could see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's like I feel like most people probably end up in bracket 3, unless like they want to go a little stronger. I don't know. And then obviously the last one being CEDH, which we all know what CEDH is at this point. It's like it's the powerhouse of powerhouse decks. Like you if you have first turn or OTKs, that you're a CEDH deck. It's just what it is.
Those crazy ass decks that can win in like 1 or 2 turns, insane.
Yep, pretty much. Those are what it is. So I mean, really the only changes here is just that there are better wording overall. But then they basically just said that bracket 1 is mainly a focus on theme, whereas like I was kind of elaborating at, is that no longer, and the bracket 2 is no longer tied to precons and everything like that. I think that's fair. I think that's probably a good summary of it, honestly.
Yeah.
As well as kind of the clauses that they said they removed the clause of few tutors in each of the brackets, basically, because it's such a catch-all term that it was just like, oh, you know, searching your deck for a land is not the same as normal tutoring, but it is tutoring because you're looking through your deck. Anytime you look through your deck, you're tutoring. It's just what it is. So this kind of more clearly defines it at this point, I guess, then, rather than just saying few tutors. Either way, I think it's better to have more concrete terms than anything else when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
The big one here was the game changers list and how they talked a little bit about how their philosophy and how they're going to take the game changer list going forward, and they think that their removing of these 10 cards is probably a good summary of it. So rather than going over their philosophy right now, I just want to go through the cards that they're removing here. Is that they're removing the card Expropriate, which is a 2 blue and 7. It says, and it's got like Council's Dilemma. So starting with you, each player votes for money or time.
That's right.
Yeah, and then each one for each vote, you either take an extra turn or you what was the other one? I always forget. Oh yeah, you get a permanent or whatever, and then you exile it. And their main reason for taking this off is because generally, if you're playing something for 9 mana, it's going to be powerful and it should be powerful. So they don't really want to put it on the game changers list as it could just be a game ender. It's kind of, I thought, what they were thinking when they didn't put Craterhoof Behemoth on the game changers list last time we had an update on this. It was that these cards end games, and that's a good thing because you should be able to play powerful cards for high mana cost. And I think that's fair. There are some commanders that can, cheat mana or create mana and these sorts of things, but that's just kind of how the deck's built. So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that.
No.
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Then the next one is Jinkataxius Core Augur. If anyone remembers this card, it is one of the early Praetors, which is the 2 blue and 8 with flash. It's a 5/4.
Yep.
At the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards. Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. So basically, you flash this in when your opponent's end step, and then the clause says, "Oh, unless you have no maximum hand size, your opponent has to discard their entire hand."
Mm-hmm.
Basically. Again, citing that it's a 10 mana creature. If you're playing something for 10, the game should probably be close to be over anyway, or this could just straight up win you the game. And it's not as impactful as some other more powerful, more expensive cards too.
Okay. I can kind of see that.
You're kind of getting the philosophy, at least this first part here is that what they're kind of doing is that high mana value does not equal game changer. Is that if you're not cheating these cards out, you're paying their full mana cost, and for a 9 and 10 mana card, it's like, yeah, you should just win the game, or the game should be wrapping up at that point. So you should be allowed to play 10 cost creatures without having them count towards game changers. It's fair.
Okay.
Next one is Sway of Stars. This is actually one that just came off the banned list that is now coming off the Game Changers list because it probably shouldn't have been banned necessarily to begin with. Anyway, it's the Sway of Stars is a 2 blue and 8, so it says each opponent shuffles his or her hand, graveyard, and permanents that he or she owns into the library, draws 7 cards, and each player's life total becomes 7. Basically saying, this isn't the powerhouse we once thought it was. And if you're playing this on 10 mana, sure, you paid 10 mana for it to basically restart the game.
Okay. Yeah.
It's fine. The last one when it comes to the high mana value is the Vorinclex Voice of Hunger. Another one of the big Praetors. It says 2 green 6 with trample. It's a 7/6. Whenever your opponent taps a land for mana. Whenever you tap a land for mana, you tap it for an additional one that's produced. And then whenever opponent taps the land for mana, it doesn't untap during the next untap step. Basically saying, again, game ender, not really a game changer.
I don't know about that one. Green can...
And
Green's whole thing is mana ramp. They can get up to 7 mana really quickly.
Or what a lot of people were saying especially with green, is one of the main colors always paired with green is black. And what tends to happen is that's Golgari. So then Golgari just goes Reanimator, basically, where you pitch all these big creatures in the graveyard, reanimate them with powerful cheap spells, and all of a sudden you have Vorinclex Voice of Hunger down at turn 4 instead of turn 8.
Yeah.
Or you just ramp so much that you get this thing down on turn 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
It's one where I see both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It definitely doesn't feel good when you see a Vorinclex, though, but...
Yeah.
I think it's fine. So, anyway, all right. Moving on. So these next 4 here are...
Does he die to removal?
Yes.
Vorinclex?
Yes.
Okay.
He doesn't have ward or protection or anything, so you have to protect him naturally. So
that's good.
If basically you have a cheap just kill him spell, basically, you just have a Doomblade. Oh, it's 2 mana is then up next, or not up next turn, or even if you just counter it, because you could just do that too. Yeah. I think generally I'm okay with it just because of the idea behind it. Again, is these are game enders. By the time Vorinclex comes down, I think a lot of the times, because mainly what happens with the Game Changers list, you have to remember is that we don't really necessarily care about the bracket 4 and bracket 5 because those guys are always just playing the most broken, consistent bullshit anyway. The game changers list is more of to protect players that are trying to play on the lower brackets, so like the tier 2s and the tier 3s and everything like that. So it's like these are the people that you just like that you're trying to protect from not seeing Voron clocks on turn 5 basically, or like Chinky turn 5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's kind of what they said here. It's like, oh, high mana value cards. It's like generally they want to take the game changers list to focus more on early game cards that either just slingshot you forward basically a lot faster than any other card in the format, or gives you an unfair advantage. So I expect probably the game changer list in, I think they said the next update's not going to be until next year, but is probably going to focus on a lot of early game cards, a lot of like cheaper spells that are really powerful that could just ultimately win you games. Because I think that's generally what they want to do, is that they generally want to keep the idea of like early spells should ramp you into your late game and stuff like that to the point, and then the late game is where you start finishing off opponents with your high costing powerful cards. Now, I'm not saying that high cost cards might not go on the game changers list, depending on what that is, but generally that's just kind of how I think their philosophy they want to take going forward is. And I think that's fair.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Because you have to give players the ability to play high costed stuff, right? Because I feel like that was one of my whole appeals when I first started playing Commander. It was that part of the reason why I didn't particularly like standard or modern is because the games were over so fast that I didn't get to play I didn't get to play the 6-drop or whatever, or the 5-drop, because it was just like, oh, the game's over turn 4. Well, I didn't get to do this cool thing with this more expensive card. And that's generally how I feel like Commander has always been. They're like, we want you to play the early game, survive the early game, to then play your big stuff, to combo off with that big stuff and win the game. So yeah. All right. So these next 4 here are legendary creatures. They were the only legendary creatures on the Commander Game Changers list. This is Kirin, Bonder's Prodigy, Urza, High Lord Artificer, Winota, Joiner of Forces, and Yuriko, Tiger Shadow. Now, the reason why all 4 of these are coming off of the Game Changers list is because they say that if your opponent is playing these commanders, that basically this is rule 0. Before you even start the game, everyone just goes, oh, I'm playing a Urza or whatever, and you go, well, I don't want to play against Urza type thing. And it's like, well, then you're playing too high of a bracket, basically. They're basically letting people, like, because it's like, oh, I see your commander that you're playing, I don't want to play against that, so I'm going to either go play somewhere else, or I'm going to break out my bigger stuff to be able to combat against this.
Okay, sure.
My thought process on that is yes, but that there will be people in Friday Night Magic or Commander Nights or whatever that are like, oh yeah, I'm looking to play some Commander here, guys. All right, I'm going to play this deck or whatever. And they all start up the game. They're like, oh yeah, I'm playing Urza. Dude, what the fuck? Well, he's not a game changer anymore.
I don't care. Leave.
Exactly. Get the fuck out. It's like we're just playing some general, just like okay stuff. We're not looking to play CEDH here. Come on, man. And okay. While will that happen? Probably. Will it happen often? I don't think so.
No.
My only thing is that like you could still play these in the 99, and while they're not nearly as good in the 99 as they are as commanders, because being able to play them when you can, especially like Winota is not one you're going to play in the 99. Yuriko is not going to be played in the 99. So the only one that could be is an Urza, but I don't foresee that being a thing. Kieran's probably. So, I don't know. I think it's fine. It's just that my whole thought process when you made these Commanders game changers, that if people wanted to play them at lower brackets, that it was one less game changer they could utilize in their decks at lower tiers. But I guess the idea is that if you just see these guys anyway, you're probably not just going to play against them anyway.
Mm.
I don't know. It's like because one of our buddies, Cole, he has a Yuriko deck, and I don't necessarily hate playing against it. It's powerful. Don't get me wrong.
Mm.
I don't particularly hate it, but I don't particularly love it.
Okay.
I'll say that. It's like I think whenever I see Cole break out Yuriko, it's like I really feel like I could win against it, but it's like it's tough. It's tough.
I definitely would rather not.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think he knows that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll have to see how that one goes, but it's probably generally fine. I think because I think when they made the game changers list, they wanted to stay away from commanders as much as possible. Legendary creatures, they're legends for a reason, type thing. But it's like sometimes they just need to be there. So, the last two cards that they thought about taking off was Food Chain. Food Chain was the 1 green and 2 enchantment that says exile a creature you control, add X mana of any one color to your mana pool, where X is +1 of that exiled creature's power or mana value, and spend this only to cast on creatures. And basically they just said, well, it's not quite as powerful as maybe we had thought, and it's basically just a combo card to basically a higher cost stuff. It's not like you can just play Food Chain down on turn 3 and then just go, all right, now I'm going to combo off. I'm like, most of the time you're not going to do that. It's going to take it's a combo piece rather than just straight up win the game by just playing Food Chain.
Mm.
It's probably fine. So, and then the last card that they had on there was Deflecting Swat. And if you remember, Deflecting Swat is the 1 red 2. But if you control your commander, you can cast this without paying its mana cost, and then you can just choose new creatures for a target spell or ability. It was a protection piece in like the red, pretty much.
All right.
I go back and forth with that one because it's like it can just straight up really. Because I'm like, okay, I sit here going just like you're playing like I think I have Deflecting Swat in Lightning or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I play a turn 3 Lightning card and you're like, well, I don't want to see Lightning out there because now he's just gonna fucking attack me a bajillion times, and he didn't leave him with any, didn't put on his Swiftfoot boots or anything like that, so it doesn't have hexproof. So this is my turn to kill it, type thing, because he's all tapped out. He can't protect it whatsoever. And then he's just like, all right, here's my kill spell or whatever with my commander already on the board. All right, I'm gonna Deflecting Swat that, and now redirect that back at your creature. Now you just lost your commander, and it puts you so far behind, or somebody else's. If you're in a 4-man game.
Damn.
I would say that's pretty much a game changer. It doesn't seem as powerful as some of the other game changers on the list, but it still feels real good.
Yeah.
Still feels like one they probably shouldn't have taken off. I don't know. That one's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do just go back and forth with it. I'm like, well, it's not that bad. And then you think about it and you go, well, it kind of is. So, Yeah, those are the 10 cards that they removed. They removed from the game changers list. Other than maybe deflecting SWAT, I don't necessarily see a problem with any of these changes. I think generally the philosophy that they have towards the game changers list, or what they've kind of come to the idea of what is a game changer, I think they've solidified it in their mind that it's the things that help you really quickly ramp into the late game and stuff like that. And I wonder with that mentality, and they didn't really bring it up this time, but remember the last time we did one of these little updates on this, is that they brought up the idea of putting Soul Ring on the game changers list. And I still agree that it should be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Because, especially under their philosophy that they seem to be taking, and that they talked about a lot, is that this is a card that just directly ramps you faster into the end game and can be very lopsided. Now, obviously, that didn't happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if in a future update they go, let's just try it, you know? Let's just try it.
Mm-hmm.
And see how we feel about it, you know? So, it's interesting. Yeah. They did talk about a few other cards that they were thinking about removing from the list, which was the Consecrated Sphinx, which is the 2 blue 4 with flying, and it's 4/6 that whenever your opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. They ultimately left this thing still on the list because they were just like, it's a high mana value thing. 6 mana is generally considered a lot of mana, but it might just be not quite late enough for it to really, like, it's not like a 7 or 8 cost card. This is a 6 mana card. And just with, like we talked about, a Soul Ring, you could literally play this on turn 4. So, turn 4 Consecrated Sphinx seems pretty good, as opposed to like a turn 5 or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, it just keeps your hand just refilled because it's like whenever your opponent, and you're playing a 4-man, so it's like everyone goes around, draws their card for turn, you get to draw, you just effectively drawn 6 cards if it doesn't get removed. So
It seems like they're trying to make a distinction between game enders and game changers, because a game like that would definitely change the game, but it wouldn't be like the end of the game. It would definitely like...
Yes, I agree with you, and I think you're right. But also at the same point, they said this isn't quite late enough. Is ultimately as well what they were thinking of too. It's like it could still come down early enough to make that impact to the game that we're trying to avoid with the game changers list. But
so you think it comes down to mana cost?
Yes, I think it comes down to mana cost. Had this been 7 mana instead of 6, I think there's a realistic chance it could have been taken. It could have been taken off this list.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, these are printed cards, so you can't really change them like that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You basically you leave them on this list and you go, it's a game changer. Okay, it's fine. I don't know. They generally were just like, yeah, we're not sure how high is like. It's like, and then they go there's a world of difference between 6 and 7 mana. It can really dominate whether or not you removed in a couple triggers, or clone interactions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they just think that 6 mana is too early. 7 might be late enough that they would be okay with it to have that kind of effect, but it doesn't. It has 6, so they're just going with their gut and keeping it on there. The other card they talked about was Coalition Victory, another one that recently got unbanned that they thought about taking off the Game Changers list. Remember, this is the Wooburg, so green, red, black, blue, white, and 3. You win the game if you control a land of each basic land type and a creature of each color. It's a 8 mana sorcery that says that when this card is on the stack, if it resolves on the stack, and you get all of these, you get both of those prerequisites, you just win the game. Now, here's the thing is if this is on the stack, and then you go, well, I'm just going to remove your green creature then with my Doomblade, and then they go, well, all right, now it resolves. hey, I don't win the game because I don't have a green creature now. Uh-oh, I just wasted 8 mana to do nothing. Because it doesn't say you can only play this if you have this. If you have those, it's an old card that says like it goes on the stack, you react to the stack, and then it resolves, and then you go like that. So, and they're like, yeah, while it's expensive, it does literally end the game. So, and there might just be some weird obscure world where no one just has any interaction, and they don't want games just to end on the spot with just one card. So while it fits the idea of a high mana value, they don't like the idea of just ending the game. So kind of going back to that idea that the whole reason why Coalition Victory was banned to begin with was that we just don't like the idea of one card just straight up ending the game, even though it's not just one card, but it's the idea that you've filled the prerequisite, you've now won the game because you filled that prerequisite. So the idea of winning a game changer, winning the game on the spot feels like a game changer, but again, it's like game ender, so I don't know. Kind of feels like conflicting things. Like they don't want to take it off, but they don't want to leave it on. But at the same point, they couldn't come up with a decision either way. So they decided, let's just leave it there. I'm not surprised that some of the cards that, Sway of Stars obviously got talked about or whatever, and like Coalition Victory and the next one as well, Panoptic Mirror. These are all cards that were banned and now recently have just been thought of like, oh, man, why were these cards kind of banned to begin with? I'm like, well, at the time, they were extremely powerful, but now not so much because Magic's just in a much different place. So
it's hard. It's hard to say, yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to say. So it's like they said. It's like so the next card, the last card they really kind of talked about was the Panoptic Mirror, and it's like the 5 mana with like Imprint X, where you can tap it to remove an instant or sorcery card with the converted mana cost X from your hand from the game. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a copy of the imprinted card, instant or sorcery, and play it without paying its mana cost. In the end, they were just like, yeah, we still don't know whether or not we should take this off the list or not. So we're just going to leave it on there for the time being because it's only been here for a short amount of time, and we want to see if it's going to find a place. And if so, does it still deserve that game changer motto? And the answer is I don't know, and neither do they. So they just decided we're just going to keep it.
I mean, so far, I think there are definitely some questionable decisions going on with the Game Changers thing, but I think so far, the way that Wizards is managing it, I think is actually fairly okay for what they're doing.
Yeah, I generally think it's fine.
I kind of like this new philosophy they have. I like this new philosophy that they have with the precons too as well. It's all good stuff, I think.
Yeah, I like it too. And now with those removal of those 10 cards, when you look at the Game Changers list, the most expensive card being Coalition Victory, but in reality, there's only like 5 cards or something like that, 5-6 cards that are mana value like 5 or higher now on this list. Yeah. Because it's like Consecrated Sphinx, Tergrid, God of Fright, Seaborn Muse, Bolas's Citadel, Ad Nauseum, I guess Force of Will, but does anyone ever pay 5 mana for Force of Will? You just cheated out using its other ability. It effectively costs 0. So, it's like, yeah, the thing is the expensive cards they have on there, like Ad Nauseum, literally just wins games, but like, or just like really ramps you to the end. Basically, it's really what it comes down to. That's why that's there. Same thing with Bolas's Citadel. I mean, it just like, all right, I'm now set up to win next turn. Cool. Great. All right. And then Terragrid, I think Terragrid is the only, other than Grand Arbiter Augustine, pretty sure are the only legendary creatures that are now on the Game Changers list at this point. Yeah. Consecrated Sphinx is not. I guess Braids is. Braids is one of those ones that just got unbanned too, so my guess is that'll probably just stay there as well. No, I kind of like what the way that the list is kind of shaking out. I do think that there should be a few more cards added to there at some point. I'm sure they will, but overall, I think that's sitting in a pretty decent spot.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing that they kind of talked about as well was like the idea of, they wanted to get kind of put this in. What they kind of did last time is like when they talked about like, oh, should we put Soul Ring on the Game Changers list? You let us know type thing. So they kind of did the same thing where they were like, Ristic Study. Now, if for anyone that doesn't know what Ristic Study is, it's one blue and 2 for an enchantment that says whenever an opponent casts a spell, I believe, right?
I think so. That's
Yeah, whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1. And then you always get the one player, hey, you pay the 1. Hey, you pay the 1. Hey, you pay the 1. And you hear that a bajillion times over in a game because no one really wants to man, I don't want to waste the enchantment destruction on a Ristic Study. It doesn't do a whole lot other than just pay the 1. It doesn't matter then, right? So they were thinking of like, well, should we put that on the Game Changers? Does that?
No, I don't think so.
I go back and forth on it. I was like, once they put it out in my mind, I'm like, is it? And I go, man, I don't know. Because it's like
where people are coming from. Like, it's anti-mana ramp in a way.
Well,
you're kind of fucking over your opponents.
It normally just generates a ton of cards for whoever plays it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's generally the thing is, but then you just go, well, just kill it. Just naturalize it. Then you don't have to worry about it. He draws like what, 1 card because you don't want to pay the 1 mana on the one spell you play. Sure.
Those resources can add up quick, and especially if you're playing blue though too.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. See, that's where they're just like, should it belong on the Game Changers? It's 3, comes down early. It's going to take a person to basically sacrifice either a turn of playing something that they really wanted to play on their turn because they ramped in or like they curved into it to then go, well, I don't like having heuristic study. So even though I'm going to sacrifice playing my 4-drop here for this, I can't allow you to keep heuristic study. And somebody ultimately just ends up taking a dive to stop the person from benefiting off of heuristic study a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the logic behind it. Should I think it belongs to the Game Changers? I don't know. Because of everything I basically just outlined. If you just kill it, it doesn't really do anything, then it's ultimately not a game changer. But at the same point, if it stays out there and you draw like 6-7 cards off it, it's like, yeah, I mean, you have so much more cards than your opponent does, and you've seen so much more of your deck. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Especially if your opponent's just playing like, oh, I'm going to play this 1 mana thing. Hey, I'm not going to play the 1. I'm going to pay 1 more thing to play this other thing. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay the 1. He's always got the one person that's like, I'm never paying for this fucking Soul Ring. Or Ristic Study, goddamn. Mm-hmm. I'm never paying the 1. You can't make me. It's like, what is it? From Click Holes, I forget what the card's called. It's like his 3-mana like god creature that he has, where it's like, oh, whenever something dies, you can either choose an opponent to pay 3 life or just put it back in your hand. And no, everyone's like, I'm not paying the 3, so you can put your. I was like, I'm not doing that 7 times over for your Shadowborn Apostles. Fuck that. Just go play them out again.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Mm.
It generally will come down to how people think about it, and I go, Probably not. Good Magic players, I think, will end up killing it. And then anyone that can't will just go, well, this is a great learning lesson or anything like that. It's like, or it kind of shows off like, oh, the weaknesses of any deck. It's like, I play too few removal. I should fix that. So I'm gonna say no for now, but I definitely could be swayed to say yes. The second kind of order of business that they had thought about doing was the banning of Thassa's Oracle. Now, anyone that's in CEDH knows what this card is. This is a 2-blue Merfolk Wizard that is 1/3 that says, when Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put one of them on the top of your library and the rest at the bottom of your library in random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game.
100% should be on the Game Changers list.
It is on the Game Changers list. Good. They were thinking about whether or not they should ban it. Like, just ban it from a commander outright. This is a card you don't see in lower brackets because it's a full-on combo deck, basically. It is you play it with one other card where you just mill out basically your entire deck, and then you play Thassa's Oracle, and then because the 2 blue from Thassa's Oracle, even if your devotion to blue is only 2, if you only got one card in the deck, you win the game. It's an easy, done deal, you know?
Yeah.
So this is a tough one because in essence there's literally a brand of CEDH that literally revolves around this card, and this is the only win condition that anyone ever plays in it. And you go, well, that should be grounds enough reason to ban it, right? I don't know.
I mean, at what point do you just start banning all CEDH stuff? Because as a game changer, I get it. Because, it is a win con. I've seen Thassa's Oracle proctor at, turn 4.
Mm-hmm.
It can go off, incredibly quickly.
Incredibly quick and just win you the game.
But at the rank that of Magic play that they play, decks that use Thassa's Oracle, like you said, it's a full-on combo deck that revolves around that card.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see the benefit in banning it at that point.
It basically just says we're sick of watching people win with Thassa's Oracle, so we're just going to ban it because it's overdone and overused at this point, and it's too easy of a win con to kind of have with just a 2-card combo, basically.
I don't know. When it comes to CDH in general, it's been so stale for the longest time. The same 2-3 decks have been at the top for umpteenth, before I even began playing.
Yeah.
It's that hasn't changed at all, even slightly. And it's I'm sure once you get to that level of skill where you're playing decks like that, you're probably gonna get sick of seeing the same few decks played over and over and over. But unless something drastic changes to change that, I don't see that happening. I see Thassa's Oracle as more of a component to that, rather than a something that's, I don't know. If they banned Thassa's Oracle because of something as minute as that, I feel like they would have to ban a whole bunch of other shit too.
So that is I think what they're
the meta game.
And that is what I think they're thinking is we don't want to necessarily completely mess up the competitive scene of CEDH. The main thing and the main idea behind this is that they didn't like the idea of seeing Thassa's Oracle in bracket 3 games, basically, and just winning off of that. To which I go, yeah, but at the same time, banning it just because some more casual people lost to it, and completely wrecking a whole brand of deck basically in CEDH doesn't feel good. And it's kind of like they said, it's like we want to avoid bans as much as humanly possible at this point, and the game changer list is sort of supposed to be that like tool to tell us that we don't necessarily need to because we're limiting how many decks can actually utilize this card. So I think no. Generally, I think you probably shouldn't ban Thassa's Oracle. And if you're really that concerned, I don't think it's going to happen on too regularly a basis to really warrant a ban.
No.
So, I don't know. Some guy steals one game with a Thassa's Oracle and Bracket 3, sure. But then everyone will know about it from that point, and then you're going to go, well, now we kind of know about it, so it is what it is now.
I don't know. To a certain degree, it'd feel like... Imagine if Magic just came out tomorrow and say, hey, we're banning Thrasios, Triton Hero.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you're mixing up the metagame, but... Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of the other things they kind of talked about was the idea of adding another bracket to this and making it 6 brackets instead of 5. Basically, that the jump between 3 to 4 is a lot higher than they maybe would have originally thought it to be. So adding kind of a bracket either between 2 or 3 or 3 or 4, and basically making CEDH bracket 6 at that point, and then what we now know as 4 would be bracket 5, and then adding some more, like, they don't really know exactly what it would be entail. They would have to really come up with it or whatever, but they wanted to see if, like, generally if that'd be something that good that people kind of thought about whether or not it should be a thing.
Okay.
I just don't know the parameters that they would necessarily, because it's like you want it to be stronger than, you know, an upgraded precon deck or whatever type thing, but it's like, and it needs to be good to the point where it's consistent, but not like, I don't know, not as good as like where it hits like not quite CDH but powerful. That's because that's kind of what bracket 4 is already. I just don't know what the parameters would be for that. If they wrote up something for it and I looked at it and I said to myself, I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds good, then sure, I see no problem with it, but I just don't know what that would be.
I mean, I can go either way on that. It's not really something that affects me, so.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't play a ton of Magic anymore, but it's like, when I really think about it, it's like, when I think about it, it's like the difference between 3 and 4 is very steep. I think that you really start to get like, the bracket system helps with the like more casual audience, basically the ones that, you know, aren't playing the high powered stuff or whatever. But like once you get to 3 and 4, when you start getting more competitive or whatever, especially when you get to from 4, where it's like, oh, game changes list all open, everything like that, everything's good as long as it's not considered CADH, you're good. And I go, that's steep as opposed to where 3 is, because 3 is like, oh, only 3 game changes are allowed. So it's like you can have a few very powerful cards in it, but you can't go buck wild with it if you want it to be considered 3. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was like, if they added another one in there, would they add to say like, oh, you could do like 5 game changers, and then like, and I go, well, what does that really do for you? It's like, yeah, 2 more game changers. I mean, is that really that impactful? I don't know. I almost wonder if there needs to be at some point just like, I don't know, a generally accepted tier list when it comes to commanders at some point, and then that what determines, like, you could put Urza and like Kieran and Winota as like S tier, like these are the most powerful commanders you can have out there type thing. And then you have like, you know, Gitrog monster, strong but like not overly powerful. So probably put him at like anywhere from like a B, maybe A, but I would say probably like a B, just because you it's only 2 colors as opposed to like 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation in and of itself at that point, because then it's like, then you have to do a whole system on grading every legendary creature basically and putting it in this bracket. And now you're getting too crazy with it, I feel like, at that point. So I don't know. Do what you want, man. If like I said, if they wrote something up for it, and I was just like, if they wrote something up for it, and I was like, and they clearly defined it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, this makes sense. Yeah, go for it. So, but I feel like they partially just didn't want to go back to oh, this is. It's like, oh yeah, my deck's kind of like how what was it, the previous power ranking or whatever that you'd always do it with. I was like, oh yeah, mine's like a 7 out of 10 or something like that, or mine's like a 10 out of 10 when it comes to power level and stuff like that. And I'm like, what does that mean? that was the main reason that we did this whole bracket system to begin with, is nobody knew what that meant. So, the final thing they talked about was the idea of making hybrid Magic cards be available in monocolored decks, as opposed to being you need to be playing both colors to be able to play it. Specifically, it's the cards that have the slash in their mana cost, so it'd be a green or white. You could use either one of those to pay for it, and the little blip that's what's called hybrid mana. So it as of right now, you would need to be playing both. Say you wanted to play Kitchen Finks, it's the hybrid of green white for in two of the mana blips, and then a 1. And then it says, when this enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life, persist, whatever. The idea is that you needed to play both green and white to be able to play that card in the deck. What they're thinking here is that, well, it's hybrid mana, so theoretically you could use either of the mana. It's not required to have both. So, in essence, a mono green deck could play this card, as well as a mono white deck if they wanted to. And you didn't need to play both. There's a bunch of cards in Magic that kind of fall into that suit. It's like Reese the Redeemed would be able to be played in green black elf decks, because it's now considered green, and you don't. It's part of the reason why it's not already in there is because you need the white, and most Golgari elf decks, don't play white, so you couldn't play Reese. Same thing for Deathrite Shaman or whatever. For a lot of people didn't it was with mono green, you couldn't, if you were playing that, you wanted to play this card, but you couldn't because it was also green and black. So I don't know. It's interesting because they thought there's only then there's a few cards that are what they call two-brid mana cards, with a card called Beseech the Queen, which is either you pay 2 neutral mana or you pay 1 black, and you do that 3 times. And it's theoretically under this rule, could it be put in any deck then? And they go, no, it'd probably just stay black at that point, because it's not oh, it's not neutral mana. It's just saying oh, you can either pay 2 of any other color mana, or you can get it for half the price of just paying it black. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm interested to see if what they kind of rule on hybrid mana. I think they wanted to put it out there and see what people thought about it, and then maybe they'll talk about it next year. I personally like it. I think
so. Yeah.
I think that there's no reason that you shouldn't be allowed to play these cards in mono white and in monocolor decks, or decks that aren't playing a specific color. Well, they're just playing one of the two. As long as it's, I don't know. I honestly thought you could just do that in Essence when I first started playing Commander. I didn't realize until later on that you couldn't play those cards unless you had both color identities, and I was like, ooh. Didn't know that. So, yeah. That's pretty much everything from that. So overall, I liked it. Thought it was good. Kind of like the thoughts that they have at the end that they kind of put out. It's like they you get people thinking about, should we put these things in the game? Should we not? Should we do this? And I'm like, see what you guys think about it.
It's good that they're communicating with the community on these things.
I'm glad that they don't just do these things and then everyone just goes, why the fuck did you ban Thassa's Oracle and stuff like that? Well, we thought it was necessary, but we fucking hate the idea. Now you have to wait like 6 months for you to change it again. And they go, well, rather than just doing it, let's kind of just put it out there and see what people say about it and then go from there. So I think that's generally probably a good way of doing stuff when it comes to, things that they aren't even necessarily sure they want to do in essence.
I mean, yeah, that makes complete sense to me.
Yeah. Can I tell you how many games just do that in general, where they just go, oh yeah, this thing is now banned, and you go, what? Why? Please don't.
I mean, that doesn't just go for like card games.
No, that's games and anything.
As somebody that watches the balance changes to things like Marvel Rivals and Dead by Daylight, yeah. They do shit that the community doesn't want all the fucking time.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we completely reworked Myers. Why? Nobody wanted that. Well, he's stronger now. No, he's not. Why would you do this?
We didn't ask to make him stronger.
I'm not going to go on another fucking rant about Dead by Daylight again.
Fair enough.
Not worth it.
That's why you should rant about Halo.
We're going to talk about Halo now? Oh, I thought we were going to talk about Twilight Imperium for a little bit.
I mean, we could if we wanted to, but I figured that was a good segue.
That is a good segue. Let's talk about Halo real quick. Since we're not talking about the never-ending decline of Dead by Daylight, we're talking about the never-ending decline of Halo. We're getting 2 new Halo games this next year. You'd think
what
as a
are
big
they?
Halo fan, I'd be more excited. One of them
you mean you're not excited?
Reported. I don't know, man. There's so much bad shit going on with Microsoft and the Halo studios as a whole.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into all that, but
that's fair enough.
Man, Infinite got really good too after like several years of changes.
Yeah. It's usually how it goes, isn't it?
One of them is the reported Combat Evolved. We're getting another remake instead of Combat Evolved Remastered. They're doing the PlayStation thing here, where apparently is going to have things like updated gameplay and art style, and I don't think they're going to do then that thing where you could switch between the old and the new graphics. I think they're adding a bunch of stuff, so that'll be pretty interesting. And what's been described as a Fortnite-like live service multiplayer game that'll carry Halo through the next few years. And apparently, generative AI is being heavily used to make the new Halo games, including the CE remake. And it's woven into every facet of game development. It was reported originally by Rebs Gaming, who said this isn't only a Halo issue, but it's an issue that is going to evolve basically every aspect of the wider gaming industry within the next few years. This is more of a rant about why I hate AI rather than why I hate why I'm disappointed in Halo specifically. Because it's this is going to this generative AI is going to negatively affect Halo. I think in the next few years it's going to affect everything else though too. Like I think it's going to be woven into Assassin's Creed. I think it's going to be woven into Call of Duty, Battlefield, like all these major franchises. And I mean like all major franchises across like every like gaming studio. I think even Nintendo is probably going to use this at some point, and it's disappointing. And a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Even some places as big as Amazon are saying, yeah, in the next 5-10 years, we're going to cut like 600,000 people because we're replacing them with AI.
Love it.
It's, yeah, depressing. It's scary. And this, as a big fan of the Halo franchise, you would think I'd be excited for the future of Halo. Even with this announcement, I'm not sure Halo has a future. I don't know what Xbox is going to do with the IP or the studio after these games come out. I know, because I know Microsoft. I know there's a real possibility that these both drop. They hand the live service over to some third-party company and then just dump all the employees. And it fucking sucks.
Yeah. So, just, since we're just going on, rants and stuff like that, there was a time when people took pride in what they and really enjoyed making games because they loved the idea of what games could be, basically. Mm-hmm. And it feel like to me that the AAA market has just completely abandoned that at this point. Like, I'm not saying that there aren't some games that still don't follow that suit, but man, the amount of just like, especially AAA games that come out and just are just total pieces of crap. They're just here to make money. They're nothing is redeeming about them whatsoever.
Like 99.9% of them, I feel like, are like that.
Yeah, and so it's just like, and it's
these new games just scream like we made these because we had to, not because we wanted to.
Because they still make money, basically.
It's so fucking sad, dude.
It's like, we're not here to do something cool or, tell a story or something like that. That's not what we want anymore. What we want is we want to make money. That's really what it comes down to. And it's just a damn shame because it's like part of the reason why and I'm sure it's the same for you, fell in love with gaming was the idea of the passion behind everything they did and just generally wanting to, like, doing cool things in games or whatever and stuff like that, and telling amazing stories through different mediums and stuff like that. And it's like, and it just feels like gaming has gotten away from that quite a bit, and it's just unfortunate to watch. Unless you're indie game developers, majority of them at least, because they still take a lot of pride in all their work, and it shows.
That's where all the dude. If Game of the Year does not go to an indie game this year, I'm gonna kill somebody. Like, all of the best games that came out this year.
If it goes to fucking Death Stranding 2, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
Yeah, every year, even the year that it went to Hades, it didn't go to Hades. I mean, I was like, okay, sure, that other game deserved it. Why not? If it goes to fucking Death Stranding 2 this year, I'm like, no, dude, I'm done. On the year that Hollow Knight Silksong came out, on the year that Expedition 33 came out, and the year that Hades 2 came out, we're giving it to fucking Death Stranding 2. Like, actually, fuck you. Punk ass fucking corporate fuckfest.
And it's like,
is what this award show is.
I don't know anything about Death Stranding. I didn't give a shit about the first game, to be honest with you. I don't give a shit about the second game. I really don't.
Fuck
but it's
you,
like
Jeff Knightley.
But it's like,
in your Kojima loving ass, bitch.
It's like, don't get me wrong, Kojima's gonna go down as one of the greatest game developers of all time. But it's like,
oh, for sure. But yeah.
But it's like, bruh, come on, like. Are we serious right now? Can we be serious for a second here? Are we really saying that a game of the year for this year, like objective game of the year? This isn't the game of the year that everyone was like, oh yeah, this is my personal favorite. No, we're talking objective one, and you're telling me that games that have redefined, like, JRPG or like the RPGs and everything, with like Expedition 33, the Metroidvania with Silksong and everything like that. And God, they're in like Hades 2 with like kind of like just even furthering like the roguelike experience and everything like that, while introducing and incorporating a very solid theme and story going forward. How is the walking simulator the one that's gonna win it? Come on, man.
Why don't you go play some more commercials in your award show, you punk bitch?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, but at the exact same time, the reason I wasn't too interested in Death Stranding, and we're not trying to just like
I'm not trying to dog shit on Death Stranding. If you like it, then that's fine. But
I'm sure the story in the world is very interesting. At the exact same time, let's look at things objectively. And in fact, I'm going to compare it to something else. Ghost of Yotai came out this year, right?
Yes.
And it was very good, and a lot of people really liked it. The biggest complaint that I heard is that it was an exact carbon copy of Ghost of Tsushima. Like, it was the exact same game, but in a different era and a slightly different location. And I can see some people being like, well, the first game was really good. Why you just want more of that? And it's like, yeah, but that's all you're doing? It's like, that's the same problem with Death Stranding 2. It's the exact same game as the first one, but it just put you just put a 2 at the end of it.
Yeah. I mean, you could also kind of say the same thing about Marvel Spider-Man 2. It's partially why I think that it wasn't received as well as the first Spider-Man as well. Mm-hmm. It's like, it was kind of the same game. It was cool to have, Miles' powers, but overall it was kind of just the same thing. So, and again, it's not necessarily the worst, but you also have to just go, maybe just like, all right, well, let's just try and do this little thing over here, maybe.
I'd rather award people that are actually trying to go out and do new things.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I look at it too. It's like, well, doing the same thing over, it could make a good game. In essence, is it better than the games that have, branched out and made a genre better? I don't know. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. And, at a certain point, I don't get that argument. It's like, well, why does the sequel have to be wildly different from the first one? Because it's a sequel. It's expected to do things different. It's expected to be a little bit unique. It's like, hell, even for something like Darkest Dungeon 2, it plays a lot differently than, it plays differently than the first Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
You look at Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is a completely different game from the first one. Those two games play almost nothing alike. It's insane. And yes, I am just looking up a way. I'm just trying to think of a way to gas up Alan Wake again. Shut up! I'm allowed.
Yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
The game's on PS Plus right now, and you should all go get it because it's fucking fire.
Exactly. So. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. To me, as kind of going back to the original point that I made, though, it was like, man, it's just like, games used to mean something to people, basically. They used to really take a lot of, and it showed, too. It did show that, people... The
stories they told, and the game, and the way that the game played, that the people playing really, really cared about what they were making.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the story can be told, through... visuals and artwork, and some people do fantastic voice acting jobs, like in Expedition 33, where it's just like every one of the characters you connect with and find meaning in and everything like that, and it's just like you fall in love with these characters before you even realize what's happened at some point. And sometimes, and it just feels like AAA games have, I don't know, missed the point of what makes a game good at this point, because they're focusing more on multiplayer than anything else at this point. No one gives a shit about multiplayer anymore.
A lot of people give a shit about multiplayer.
But okay, I shouldn't say that, because you're right. But at the same point, younger people give a shit about multiplayer. When it comes to older players and stuff like that, they would rather have the story over the multiplayer. They would rather have the single player experience over that. And you notice how every game that we talked about when it comes to awards, other than the one that is the multiplayer exclusive and ongoing game, it's like they're the ones that ultimately get the most recognition. It's because they are the best games. It's like, and I notice how they're all single player. Remember what wasn't it for like a while? Like once like multiplayer games were getting like massive, that like everyone was just like, oh, the days of single player games are over. And I was like, are they though? I think our death was greatly exaggerated.
100%. I think it happened twice, honestly. Once with
it did.
when Overwatch first came out. I think there was a big like boost in multiplayer fans.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was Overwatch, and I believe it was like battle royale
Fortnite.
Scenes. Yeah. Those are the ones where everyone says, "Oh, single player's dead. Long live multiplayer," and everyone's just like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. It's sad though. It feels like a lot of these games are made by spreadsheets rather than people.
Yeah. Generally for me, and I'm sure you share the same share the same sentiment, is that like that's what made me fall in love with games to begin with. It was the stories, was the fun of it, was the cool interactions and the way things and the mechanics that they use to do fight, and things that are now basically just commonplace in most games and stuff like that. And it's like, but at some point, these were relatively new things. The quick time events that everyone says, "Oh, I hate QTEs" and stuff like that, and you go, these were important back then. You know, it's like when they first started, I was like, "Oh, we're actually like a part of the fight now," and stuff like that. We're not just watching a cutscene happen or anything like that. It was cool, you know. For everything that we look at now, we sit here going just like, back then was a revolutionary concept and everything like that. It's something that was completely new that we had never seen before, and we were all excited for it. Now it's common day place that everyone's just like, I'm so sick of it type thing. And I go, but there was a time where it wasn't like that, and I feel like we need to get back to that and everything like that. And what are the games that are pushing that envelope? It seems to be indie games. Like kind of, it seems to be a recurring theme here.
You know, this all actually also folds into what we said on our last episode, too, because we mentioned this before, and it was confirmed even more recently. Next gen is going to be expensive.
Yes.
The next Xbox, next PlayStation is going to be really expensive. And you know what? Yeah, buy indie games. You can... When it comes to getting a gaming PC, we reiterated this last week, it does not cost that much to get into PC gaming.
You could get a decent PC for probably the price of like what a current like PlayStation would cost or something like that, or Switch 2 or something like that. I think you could get a pretty decent one for. No, it wouldn't be able to play like high end, but I feel like if you're just playing majority indie games, it'd be good enough.
And one of the best things about indie games, the ones that are considered like the best games coming out today, is that the specs are pretty reasonable.
Yeah. That's why I say it's like, oh, you buy a $500 one, that would play most indie games you play.
Yeah, you don't need a fucking big like 5090 to handle our like super ultra realistic, butthole graphics. It's like I'm looking at a game that came out right now. That came out today. It was like a pretty anticipated one too. Have you heard of this game Dispatch?
I have not.
It is like an Invincible type game that play.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks
like art style. That plays like one of those old. What is the studio?
It was like a Telltale, because it has like the choice matters. Yeah.
It plays a lot like the old Telltale games. The recommended specs for this are like a 1050. Isn't that like an almost 20-year-old GPU at this point?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And you could get like a decent gaming PC for like $800 that could play like all these like just looking at like the Steam front page, all these like new indie games that look fantastic. You could just pick up and play any of these.
Yeah. It'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if the minimum specs for even like Hades 2, honestly? I have no idea.
I'm willing to bet that they're not that high.
It can't be that
Let's
high,
take a look.
right? Can't be.
I'm willing to bet it plays on the OG Steam Deck. A 2060. Is that, and that's recommended graphics. But it can play on a 950.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, that's enough.
Like how old is the 2060? I'm just curious now. I really
I'm
have
curious
to know.
as well.
Yeah, when did it come out? Release date. 2019.
Yeah, that's fucking like 6 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. Don't necessarily have to play. And if all of a sudden AAA games stop seeing like, thing is no one's working on these games anyway because it's all made by AI at that point. So no one's losing their jobs even. So literally the only one losing at that point are companies. And fuck the companies that do that.
But completely fuck over their employees and replace them all with computers that don't care about what games they're making. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all those companies that already fired all their game developers in favor of AI games or whatever, and then you just never purchase them, and they're like, why are people purchasing these? I'm like, because they're not good, anything like that, and no one's paying for them, and it's like, look, that's a perfect world. I understand that's never really going to happen in essence, but a guy can dream.
Dude, I don't know. At the same time,
At some point, the gaming community as a whole will get fed up with it. It's just how long will it go on for?
I could see that happening sooner than you think it is. Because, if you look at a lot of the most popular games that came out this year, they are indie games.
Oh yes.
Like some of the more anticipated games, they are indie games. And I can see a lot of people, especially seeing all these layoffs and all these firings, and people are just getting fed up. It's like, no, I'm not paying for this.
Yeah, and the games aren't good. They're suffering as a result of it. So reviews aren't great. People talking about the games are not good. In essence, the sales are at bad places and everything like that. And you sit and then everyone's just going like, no, I'd go off and play Hades 2. I'd rather go off and play Expedition 33 or something like that,
And here's the thing too. If these indie games, obviously, if AI is woven into every aspect of game development, indie devs can do that too. Yeah. And okay, we're gonna make our games up to AAA quality. We're gonna do that because, why are you guys doing it? Well, we have no money. Okay, I'd rather you guys do it than a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
So if you can make a game that looks and plays just as good as the newest COD, sure, I'd rather buy from you guys.
And this goes back to the discussion when Silksong was coming out. The fact that it was only $20, insanity. And why every person, when the news broke that it was going to be $20, was just like, I want to give you money to make the next game just as good as this one is, basically. Or we want you to keep making, Hollow Knight or Silksong or whatever it is going forward, whether it's, expansions for Silksong, or anything like that. It's like, we want you to be financially capable and not have to rely on Xbox or Nintendo or something like that, so they can't weasel their way in and just fuck up the game. It's like, we want you to be financially okay, and we as gamers collectively say, we will pay you more than $20. Please let us. And they're just like, no, just pay the $20. We're fine with it. And they're like, fuck you, Gil. We want you to give you money. Crazy! It's crazy to think in 2025 a game a game that is up for Game of the Year is out for $20 right now.
Yeah. Another great thing about indie games, they don't come at you being like, oh, well, are we gonna price this game at $80? I don't know. It's like, no, it'll almost never cost more than $50.
Yeah. It's like maybe the higher end indie games will be closer to that $50 price tag, but it's like 50 is better than 80.
It wasn't
Expedition 33 I
on.
believe was $50.
Yeah, okay. That I can understand though too.
Yeah. But that's a game that feels like it's like, while it's definitely on the higher end, it's not overly crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Like it feels like it fits for what it has there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, you know, you see a lot of like AAA games now where it's just like, all right, where the fuck is any of the money? Where's any of the polish that, you know, I'm this $80 I'm putting into this game is, and then you're also making me pay for fucking monthly battle passes? Get the fuck out of here, piece of shit.
Cough, cough. Black Ops 7. Cough, cough.
I definitely wasn't throwing that at anyone else, but clearly was. Cough, cough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can buy the Expedition 33 Deluxe Edition, which I don't even know what comes even with Deluxe, for like $60. Otherwise, the base game is $50.
Oh man, this year's COD is gonna bomb so hard, and it's gonna be really funny to watch.
God, they usually come out in November, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Comes out in a month. I've like seen some gameplay from it, and it certainly looks like a Call of Duty game.
Yep.
Yep. Well, do you want to save that Twilight Imperium stuff for next week's episode?
We can go extra long. We haven't done a podcast in a bit.
Okay.
I don't care.
New Twilight Imperium expansion. Maybe.
I have not looked at Thunder's Edge at this point, but
we're getting 2 new game modes.
I did see that.
And a whole bunch of extra shit.
There's like 5 new factions.
I find it really funny that we just figured, like, I feel like every time we play the game, we're like, okay, we got it now. We understand this time. And now this is adding a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah, they got like breakthroughs, which who the fuck knows what that is.
That's after you...
it's after you get Thunder's Edge, right?
It's after you like explore a section of Thunder's Edge, and the last person to break through gets the Thunder's Edge planet. Which breakthroughs are synergies between several different colors technologies, and gives you special abilities. There are also galactic events that that can happen at random now.
Ah, Jesus
that
Christ.
Completely changes the way the game's played.
Shit's crazy, bro.
There's this new thing that can happen because of relics called the Fracture, or breakthrough is called the Fracture, which is a whole new set of tiles that's just added to the game board.
Oh, that all? Good lord.
Now there are planets that are dual technology specialty planets, and there are some planets that are now coming with relics attached to them.
Oh, lovely. Jesus Christ. It's really going to be learning a whole new game.
Basically, yeah. And they've revised both the construction and warfare strategy cards. Ooh. Would you like to know what the new abilities are?
Yes, let's hear it.
So the original ability of construction was, for its primary ability, it was place 1 PDS or space dock on a planet you control, and place 1 PDS on a planet you control. Now it's updated to either place 1 structure on a planet you control, or use the production ability of one of your space docks, and place 1 structure on a planet you control. Structure being either
PDS or space dock.
PDS or space dock, yeah.
So you're not required just to throw out a PDS now at this point, because before it was just like, place PDS and then place PDS or a space dock. So you could either place 2 PDSs or a PDS and a space dock.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that better, because sometimes you don't necessarily want to put out a PDS because you want to place them in the correct spots. but you're like, well, I have to, so this way I don't have to. All right, I like that.
The secondary ability was
Also,
been
one thing I
updated.
want to point out is I like that you can use the production ability of your space docks with the primary of construction as well. Like that's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
That's super worth it for construction then.
The secondary ability has also been updated to spend 1 token from your strategy pool to place 1 structure on a planet you control. I know this isn't like official, but I'm guessing this will also affect like monuments too.
Which is interesting because interesting you say that because they did put structure in there. So if you're playing with the monuments, which again is not a official expansion or whatever, it's just a fan made one that, but they kind of did throw it in there for that. So it's like, because I know initially with the monuments it was like, oh, you include the little card now with it because that's how you put out your structure. But with this, it's like, well, now you don't. It could be the monument now if you wanted it to be.
Mm.
And you go, huh, that's interesting. So it's like you almost just get rid of the card where it's like, oh, place your monument on the field. Yeah. I'm curious if any of the new factions also have like new structures. Probably not, but
It's definitely possible. At the same time, I'm wondering, like, what was that expansion that the fan-made expansion that we just got?
Discord and Stars.
I'm wondering if I think Billy said that they're gonna make
Yeah,
updates to this
they already
expansion.
said that with breakthroughs being for each of the base and Prophecy of Kings ones, that they've already given the people the tools to make their own breakthroughs for the new for the Discord and Stars factions, but it's probably going to be a bit.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, but I'm glad that they're at least working on it.
Yeah, like they're working on it. They're probably saying it's going to be a bit because first we need to understand this and understand, what can we do to help these things be balanced but also good for each faction and everything like that. And it's like that's a whole development like phase that we're just like, all right, gets the nose to the grindstone. We got to figure this shit out.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you want to hear the updated warfare? Because it's like completely different than what it used to be.
Okay, yeah, let's hear this.
So the original was obviously remove 1 command token from the game board, then gain 1 command token, and redistribute any number of the command tokens on your command sheet. And it updated to perform a tactical action in any system without placing a command token, even if the system already has your command token in it. That system still counts as being activated. You may redistribute your command tokens before and after this action.
Jesus.
And the secondary ability is spend 1 token from your strategy pool to use the production abilities of units in your home system. So I think that is a way better ability than what Warfare used to be.
Yeah, I'll say.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's kind of nice though.
And for breakthroughs, do you want to hear just like a random example one to get the idea of how they're going to work?
I mean, I kind of generally have an idea of how that works, but
okay,
it's a lot.
So now on top of all the all the rules we already have to memorize, we have to keep in mind all the stuff with breakthroughs and Big Thunder Mountain, whatever the new planet's called, Thunder Junction or whatever.
I think it's just called Thunder's Edge.
Thunder's Edge. Sorry. And then there's a whole new set of tiles that apparently are that you can apparently place outside the game board now. And apparently there's a whole new set of rules that apply if you're playing with the Ghosts of Creus. So, ay. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It's quite a bit.
I think Billy is going to really enjoy this new expansion.
Yeah, I mean, he's already talked about how he just can't stop thinking about it and wants to play it. He called. By the way, I was like last Sunday when I was working. He called Mox to see if they were getting any. They said they weren't getting any because it's just the run was just too hard to get into and wasn't worth the. It's like by the time they were like, they like got a bunch of copies or whatever, they profit like $20 off of them, which isn't a whole lot when it comes to board games. So they just didn't feel like it was worth it.
Okay.
Then he called down to I'm bored, and they said, "Oh yeah, you kind of missed the pre-orders of it or whatever." But they're like, "But if we have any extra copies, you'll be the first on our list to call."
You can't just order it straight from Fantasy Flight Games.
No, because what you did is you had to get in. They're doing it in waves. Basically, they're printing out like they put out.
I see.
They're like, all right, here's how many we're doing in the first wave. Everyone get on the pre-order list if you want it, and we'll send it to you if you're on the top of the list. Basically, and that happened months ago at this point. I think it was probably when it was first announced back in like what, Gen Con? Something like that.
Mm.
And then now it's like, okay, first wave's done. Whatever that is whatever we have it as, basically, and we're working on wave 2 at this point. And whenever wave 2 happens, we'll put out pre-orders for anyone that wants it, and then it'll hopefully at that point we'll have it to the point where, you know, local game stores can have some stock of it potentially. So it might be a bit, but if he gets lucky, and we all know how lucky Billy gets, he might just be able to get it on the first wave.
Sick.
God damn. Yeah, I know. We were talking about it the other day, and it was just like,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just like, he was talking about there was like one faction that was like they have special destroyers that, and it has like an ability where you could attach space, or you could attach your PDS onto a yeah, it says here, so your structures can be transported on any ship that does not require or count against the capacity. While your structures are in the space area, they cannot use their unit abilities, and at the end of your tactical action you may place a structure in a space area that contains planets that you control in their respective systems, so you can move around your PDS and stuff like that, or your space docks. It's just they lose the ability what they have unless when you're transporting it, but then you can just instantly place them back down again. Now, if they have special destroyers that says that while this has a PDS attached to it, it can use its space cannon ability. So you have destroyers that not only have anti-fighter barrage, but as long as they have a PDS attached to it, they have space cannon as well.
Wow.
That's awesome. God, and I look here, the Crimson Rebellion literally is like they start with like a whole new area of the map like unlocked or whatever. It's like there's like this, like, what is it called? The Epsilon wormholes. It's just like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? He's like, when you create the board game, place the sorrow tile where your home system would normally be placed, and then place an inactive breach there. The sorrow is not a home system. Then place your home system in your play area. It's just place a whole new part of the board game onto the board game that only is with this faction, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I haven't even looked at the other ones. If your units are on the planet and are already not coexisting, you may choose for your units to coexist. What the fuck? When units begin coexisting on a planet, gain an ocean card and ready it. At any time, you may have more ocean cards than there are planets, and you have coexisting units. Discard ocean cards until you do not. What?
I'm sorry.
What? Coexisting? What the fuck is this? Yeah, that's a lot. I'm not going to get into that just right now. That was the
No.
Deep Rot's class or whatever. I don't even know. The Last Bastion. When you gain control of a planet, ready that planet if it contains any number of your inventory equal to or greater than the planet's resource. Otherwise, place one inventory on that planet. When an game effect instructs player to galvanize a unit. What the fuck is galvanize? Then place a galvanized token beneath it. If it does not have one, galvanized units roll with an additional die for combat and unit abilities. That's insane! Oh man! At the end of combat, you may galvanize one of your units that participated. Jesus fucking Christ! All right, well, all right. Shit's crazy, bro. Shit's just crazy. All right, this is the only one I haven't looked at. The Firmament or the / Obsidian. The fuck is this? Oh god, you can score secret objectives already scored by other players if you fulfill the requirements. Does not count against your secret objective limit or the number you can score on a round. What do you mean? When you score another player's secret objectives, do not score a victory point. Instead, place a face-down plot card into your play area with that player's control token on it. What the fuck does that mean? Huh? If you have at least one plot card in your area, gain the following ability. Action: purge the Firmament faction seat, leader, planet card, and promissory note, and gain all of the faction components for the Obsidian. What the hell is the Obsidian? Nocturne. This faction cannot be chosen during setup. When this faction comes into play, flip your home system. Double-sided faction components and all of your in-play plot cards are ready. Chronos Hollow and Talon's Hollow if you control them. What is happening? I'm just reading these things and I'm like, what is going on? Number of players who control tokens are each plot cards are puppeteered by the players for that plot. What the fuck? This is two factions in one? All right, well, they're just nuts. We're gonna have to research them. That's for damn sure. Oh, Council of Creus got reworked a bunch.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't notice that.
I'm excited for our next game. My faction is actually pretty weak except for the hero, so I'm just gonna try and
just bum rush the hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna try and fight things.
Multiple times.
I'm gonna try and fight things and be the berserkers.
I'm just gonna try and
decent job.
I'm just gonna try and gimp all the good strategy cards so that people can't use them.
There you go. All right. Thunder's Edge. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And if you're a big nerd like us, then and you love board games, boy, you're excited for it. If not, you have no idea what we were talking about for the last half hour.
Basically.
But we appreciate you listening, so thank y'all so much for listening to another episode of It Never Ends. Just all over the place and everything like that. But that's the beauty of this podcast, right? You never know what you're gonna get. You start with some Magic, you go to some video games, and then you end with some more board games, and you go, "Why? We're just a bunch of nerds." I'm proud of it.
Talk about nerd shit.
So be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. Watching YouTube or anything like that, leave us a review if you'd be so kind. And hopefully we can get back to do this on some regularity because the last month was a bit of a challenge. So
eventful, to say the least.
Yeah. So, but we will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.